Hello everyone. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to this conversation between Jaya Jaitley and Puneet Kaushik on the occasion of his solo exhibition at Gallery Espace, Threads of Time. This is Puneet's second solo at the gallery. Welcome to Gallery Espace, Jaya ji. Jaya ji needs no introduction. She is a well-known social and cultural activist, a writer, and has inspired a revival of Indian handicrafts. Daskar Haat Samiti, which she had established in 1986, is a leading NGO working to energize the Indian crafts by connecting artists with buyers in urban centers and also introducing artisans to new modes of creativity. She is the author of several books on the subject: Crafts Atlas of India, The Craft Traditions of India, Vishwakarma's Children, Stories of India's Craftspeople, The Artistry of Handiwork, etc., and so many more. Puneet Kaushik here too has been long and intimately involved with the Indian crafts, traces of which are clearly evident in his contemporary art practice. His paintings and mixed media installations use a spectrum of non-traditional graphic materials such as glass or coral beads, cotton, wool or jute cord, metal wire, terracotta, bone, hair, charcoal, paper pulp, etc., and process drawn from handcraft such as block printing, cutting in the manner of Sanji, the paper stencil craft of Mathura, stitching, binding, rubbing, pouring, pasting. He loves using paper and paper in different ways. The paper he uses in the works here in this particular show, for instance, is handmade in Auroville, all under his instructions and his supervisions. I'm hoping now Jayaji will draw out Puneet further on this subject of how his experience working with craft traditions from various corners of India has fed his contemporary art, on the arts versus and also on the arts versus craft binary, and whether and how contemporary art can energize Indian craft. Here's to Jayaji. Now you take over this.
Hello Puneet.
Hi.
I'm so glad that we've been brought together here because I'm totally charmed by what you're doing. I was very curious when I was told he works with craft and all of these kind of influences because having worked with craftspeople and knowing all of that, they all actually feel that they are artists, not karigars as such, and they aspire. They say, "हमें भी कभी gallery में मौका मिलना चाहिए." So a gallery is a big thing for them. I am really glad also that you are one of the, shall we say, pathways or routes by which craft comes to galleries in a whole new way. And maybe I should let you speak much more. I just wanted to show my appreciation for the work you have done. And I want you to tell me why you went with craft work and for how long, and what have you gained out of working with craftspeople?
So thank you for being here, and thank you for this opportunity. I would say that I did my graduation from Jamia and then I went to Berkeley and then came back, and when I was back from abroad I realized that every mile, a few kilometers, you either see the change in language or the craft or the loom, and it's a beautiful place. It's like in a way Jannat, where you actually end up having har thode se samay mein something beautiful that works and kind of got some new element to it. And for me, material has been a big inspiration. The technique has been a big inspiration, and in Indian craft, in Indian folk and tribal art, there is either the skill or the craftsmanship or the entire treatment of the medium that changes from up north, from Kashmir to say Kanyakumari, and you see this beautiful element of how things mold or modify or end up being in something else, mostly according to the utility of a place, either if it's a cold place or it's a warm place, and how the artisans or craftsmen have actually developed that product or created for their own self. So the whole entire finesse or the detailing or the skill is what I have always wanted to bring into the gallery, into my artwork. For me, it's always been that how can we sustain any form of folk or tribal art, and especially in today's world when everything is digitizing and everything is going and everybody is looking at CAD and this and that different programs and
Quick and easy work.
quick and easy work. And fortunately, we have the manpower, we have also the skill in a country like us, and it's beautiful to see that today, even today, like online shopping might happen, but for me, I have to still touch and feel.
Absolutely.
That experience is so important.
Touch and feel, look into the maker's eyes.
Yeah,
And engage as a human, because I feel if all these things are part of human endeavor, not a machine, you can't relegate the human being to being something that's just a product online.
totally.
And this humanity that we have is something that I think India has to treasure.
Totally. I agree.
One thing I want to ask you, when you found all these crafts around, have you noticed something which I, as a much older person and going into things for so long, I found that the value of Indian craft, or why Indian craft came about at all. Anyway, the whole world used handwork before the machines came.
Yeah.
What makes the Indian ones lasting and special, from my point of view, when I want to sound this off on you, is that everything that we make in India as a craft or an art or a textile has a deeper meaning to it.
Definitely.
There
very
is a
spiritual-
purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, like Sanji is for the prayer and it's for putting the colors in
Exactly,
between.
exactly.
And you let it wash off. It's not something that you need for it to last. The sari that the weaver will make, he'll do puja to the goddess in his local temple, and once the goddess blesses it, it will become his daughter's wedding sari.
So true.
And I feel that that is what makes craft meaningful. And also because of that value and that ritualistic sacredness, without being religious as such,
Yeah.
the Karigar values and honors it much more, and they therefore become in a way selfless. As you notice, they don't sign their names,
Totally.
but in galleries they feel, oh, they have to sign their name.
That's all.
So I feel these value systems are beautiful.
And very meaningful.
How do you think you can bring that out in your craft?
I have probably worked with so many artisans, of course not as many as you have, but every artisan or a craft person is not religious but spiritual in his
That's
making.
right.
He's so sacred in his performance, or it's literally, I feel that I call myself an installation artist, but when I look sitting in India, when I move around on the streets, I see there's installation happening everywhere. वो आपकी वो साड़ी वाला से भी होगा या कोई भी होगा, and you end up seeing these people, especially like in Mathura, you see that the Yamuna is flowing and they'll make the sari flow कि Yamuna को साड़ी पहना रहे हैं, like the sari being worn by Yamuna river. That itself is such a beautiful performance and an installation that we come from a space like that. So for me, like I think every craftsman or artisan is their performance or their way of dealing with the medium itself.
Even the music of
Yeah.
the loom, the music of beating on brass or
Yeah,
copper.
it's so meditative.
Yeah.
It's got a totally different, and more than us who live in the city, these people value that. They understand the rhythm. They understand that entire selflessness at every level of creating something, because they know that will pass. There is a sense that ye nashwar hai, it will finish, and that is there in them, that it will go through them. So that is the beauty.
It is
somewhere.
so lovely, and I think that when you catch that and you bring that into your work, you are actually being a very important bridge between the Karigar I work with who has aspirations to get out of just the marketplace. But a gallery also must not just be a marketplace of selling something.
Yep.
You want somebody to look at your history, the history of your work with the Karigars, inspiration that you have used, or the Karigars you have used, and how do we bring that closer, since you've already done so much about it? How do we make the Karigar come into the gallery without feeling that he's coming into some new world in which he has to be humble?
True. It's interesting you say this, because before the opening for 5 minutes, I actually did a video call to some of the artisans who worked with me, because I felt very incomplete somewhere, because it was them who have kind of actually bridged my thoughts, my ideas and my concepts into putting or giving them shape. So I did this because there was this whole feeling of, you know, them being a part of this, and either they're too far or they would be too uncomfortable to be interacting with the typical social space that they would be put into.
True. What I would love to suggest to you, if it's not being too cheeky or bold, is that when you work with them and you're creating your own artwork with them, if you video film it,
I do.
and if you do, then you should have little thingies over here which people can see how you have worked with them creatively. Because then the idea of that co-collaborator, the co-collaborator then has a face.
True, true. So I had done some miniatures. So when I did the miniatures, I made sure every artisan did sign behind those, and that's how I documented it. I tried to document every part of the process in some way or the other, so that I have, you know, because there are many times when you can keep dreaming big and keep thinking till you do not have either the skill or the draftsmanship or the craftsmanship to just engage and just mold it into the form that you want to speak of. There is no point of doing, you know, and they are the ones, they're like God gifts to you that they actually define and make it happen for you.
What do you feel you have given them to expand their talent and knowledge and creativity?
Yeah. I think the whole idea, first of all, that they all see their work in a catalog or they see it on all these social media, and it's not what they do regularly. So they're breaking the mold. The whole fun for them is that it's not just being done because ये 50 pieces करेंगे तो 2 रुपए के हिसाब से per piece हमें ये पैसा मिलेगा. They never think that this is per piece rate that they are getting for something. They're looking at it and saying, we have to do it in our time.
Beautiful.
We have to create it in our time. We can indulge. We can make mistakes. The mistake can also be something that I would end up saying it's a correction. It's not a mistake. Maybe
no, in fact, I think imperfection is perfection.
Exactly, exactly.
It's something we have to push, and somebody like you can do it as much as somebody in my world can, because I feel that the standardized mechanical world is just making people into machines.
True.
And I remember I was on some Zoom with a student from NIFT who is now an exporter. And he was saying, you know, it's very difficult to explain to the Bandhani artisan to keep all the dots equidistant. I said, please just halt for a minute. You tell your customer that no dot will be equidistant.
No, you make it yourself. Why don't you actually, it's one of the most beautiful things about Indian craft is that those imperfections are the perfections to it.
Yes, and why should a customer from there, not knowing India or what the whole process is, say that I want those dots all equal, then go get it done on a machine.
Then how is it hand done? How is the beauty of the indulgence of somebody putting their hands, wrapping something around, dyeing it, unwrapping it, opening it and giving you something? That whole magic is not happening then. Then go pick up something from a mall, that's it.
The other thing that happens is danger when you bring in craft is people think that it can be easily replicated. We have a Gond artist who did this fantastic tiger, which we then used in our ad and animated it and all in our Pune exhibition recently. Somebody said, oh, can you make 3 of these in 3-4 different sizes? I said, please, that's a piece of art.
True.
Why should it be all the same? Human beings, each of us are different. Everything we do should come out differently. How would you feel, for instance, if somebody said, oh, just make me 3-4 of those?
Exactly. One of the reasons that when I work with craftspeople, I keep thinking is that that's the only way to give respect and to bring in the element of saying that sustain it in a different level or put it on that pedestal. Unfortunately, I have to use the word pedestal is because that's the only way a buyer or a collector thinks ki it's not a small work that is just hand done and it's a craft person, not even an artisan or a craft this thing, but just a person who's just drawn it, and you can pay any amount for it, and like literally disrespect it at some level. So I think the whole idea to sustain and make a work of craft or art survive and to live is to bring it to the gallery as an art form, and that whole exercise is a part of my journey. So I'm like hoping that one day most Indian artisans can be like put on that place and be defined.
But do you think everything should be in a gallery, because that requires a lot of support system, whereas I'm just speaking on behalf of like myself as a bazaar organizer. Just now in Pune,
nice question.
we had a bazaar where there were 85 arts, crafts and textile makers, and in just 9 days we did a sale of 2.7 crore.
Wow.
Now that I think is a lot, and I keep trying to tell
Especially in
colleagues
these
that
times.
please count. And this was, people were just bursting out of this COVID isolation. Karigars were bursting out of their cooped up homes and dying to sell, and it was just a perfect click. And I just felt that look how much they each took home. Everyone, some Jharkhand village where the tribals live in some unattainable place, they are a tribe under extinction. For them, in 1.5 weeks to earn 1.7 lakhs, they were phoning their village every day, and the village people were dancing.
I can imagine.
Look at that, and neither online nor, for them they would have had to rent, each of them paid something like 15,000 for all those days, which was nothing. Now, and all we did was set up the place and they came. That is important. So how do you keep craft and art separate also, that one is in a marketplace but can also be in a gallery?
I totally see the difference at some level, because
It's a quandary for me.
no, because every piece is not a masterpiece, and every indulgence is not so when a craftsman or an artisan just gets indulged and involves and kind of puts that little extra effort, it's happening. That little thing is moving from.
अब ये देखो मैंने ऐसे अभी नया बनाया. That creativity, I'm sure after you've worked with them,
Yeah.
you stir their creativity also.
And we come up with something, and even a small thing that changes, even if the beats are changing, something is changing, they will immediately send a photograph, and fortunately for this WhatsApp and everything, they'll send and they'll say, see, we've done this, and the excitement is another level. And or somebody else will be doing. Once there was a neighbor who I had never worked with, so he got my number, he sent me an image, and he said, see, I'm also doing beadwork, and see how I'm using the beadwork.
Nice.
And
You are stirring them up, which is a very important
and that
role.
is so beautiful. That energy is so good, and it just synergizes everybody into kind of.
And them, what do they stir up in you?
I think I am here because of them. I think I'm very blessed to be born in India, and I'm very blessed to be fortunate enough to have been able to see this side of India and experience it and live it. So
Good.
I think I'm very rich thanks to the craft and art that I've lived in.
I'm interrupting in this, or rather I would add to it about Puneet. When you're talking of contemporary art, and he had once done a project at a carpet factory with rugs in Panipat.
Panipat.
And then he came out with a video on how those carpet those weavers were doing, I mean the spindles, and this whole video has been so beautiful, and the way he installed it, it was just a way of showing this carpet weaving and carpet making in India in a very, very contemporary, in his contemporary practice. And I think when the question which you asked him as, how they have been, I'll just give you one example. Like I just bought a dari from Dastkar and I showed it to Puneet, and he said they are helping the weaver. It was a very, very, very contemporary design. And they are helping him to come out with more and more.
Yeah.
So I think their horizon broadens. Like many times I've asked Puneet, some works he's been doing. He said, "Oh, I'm working with this Shibori guy. It's about him dyeing his and him dyeing
Blue
his
pottery,
work."
Shiburi, I
Yes,
have
yes.
just gone, a blue pottery, you don't end up seeing that shading and those coloring and all. So I said, listen, let's just do shading this time and do this. So we ended up doing such beautiful plates and designs, and I'm going to be showing it during the art fair this time. But these
I'd
plates
love
and
to,
all,
we'll have to come to the art fair to see that now.
yeah, we will be. So all that is being done, and so it was all different shades and things, and I would have never thought, but he also indulged. He also made sure that we would sit for hours and just do this, and he
The
said,
main
"Oh,
thing is to stir their creativity and excitement, because otherwise you can go to them and they just feel it's job work, and they feel, oh my, this was so difficult, chalo isko nipta lo, and we get back to our old
now
boring
he's doing
thing.
shading. He's got orders,
Yeah.
export orders." He's saying nobody is doing, because blue pottery, how everybody is trying
Yes,
to do
it's
quick
all the
work,
same thing.
flat, and now they're all doing different shades, and so this guy has started doing all that. He's doing embossed blue pottery.
Oh.
So I introduced him into doing depth.
But has he got a showroom in Jaipur where he's selling them or anything?
No, he's got a little workshop, and his father used to do so. I'm very happy to have found this man who kind of has stirred more me, I think, than himself. So, but now he every time does something, he sends me a picture. Same for Shiburi.
But do you foresee him as having a shop sometime and becoming a creative artist on his
He
own?
does bazaars and stuff like that, but I hope he takes it to, because he's a young boy and much like younger than me. He's in his 20s, and I think he has the potential to become an artist. When I say that, I mean to do things off just not doing the katoris and the plates and the tiles, because he has the potential, and that's the beauty of finding these people,
Yes.
who are not just they're doing the typical to sustain and do their bread and butter, but how about doing something one step more?
That's a very important thing, and I've been trying to push actually the interior decorator and architect sector into noticing and using crafts much more. We're coming out with a book under Mappin shortly, which is Indian crafts in interiors. And why I'm talking about it is because a lot of them have worked with, like there was this, the cow bells and all that they make in Kutch. The same old little bells, lovely sounds, different sizes. For years and years they've only made that. This architect in Ahmedabad worked with these as copper sheets, colored them in those different oxidization.
In the office, I think you're talking about, right?
Aniket Bhagwat's office.
Yeah, beautifully done.
Isn't it?
Beautiful.
So I felt that, gosh, that Karigar who just sat there with his bells every time is now kind of like flying high, just knowing he can do it.
And the simple treatment. It's something that he sees, he knows, but he doesn't think, because he's so into the rut of creating something to just earn the everyday. So that's the other thing that I enjoy doing with these artisans, is that when you're doing something like this, you're just pushing them onto the other level where they might see them not just doing what they have to do to sustain every day, but they can actually dream, think,
and mix with, the most important thing is bridging the gaon ka world and the city.
Exactly.
You don't change, because the beauty of those bells, the sound of the bell, it suits a particular size of animal, whether it's the bakra or the cow or the buffalo or the camel. so that in the dark, when these animals go
walk, yeah.
here and there, you know what animal is wandering around lost or something. You know whether it's a bakri or a cow. It is such a beautiful
And
scientific
that is
thing.
the beauty of every craft. You know, there is this whole
There's a meaning.
others, yeah.
Nobody makes a bell or makes a wall decoration just shauk se, which the contemporary artist does a lot of shauk. You are not one of them, but many of them just splash a whole lot of paint on the canvas and then say, that's my whatever.
I love the whole idea of giving significance, meaning to what you are
Yes.
doing and defining it. And that itself takes another level for, you know, it is something that you have to indulge, imbibe, totally embed yourself into, to even enjoy the experience of, you know.
Yeah, why it's made, what it's used
Exactly,
for,
exactly.
and now let me do this with it.
Yes.
Then they don't feel irrelevant in their community. ऐसा नहीं कि अब गांव में करेंगे ही नहीं.
हाँ.
That they have to find some city bucket to do some fantastic thing.
Very true.
They, unless you make their lives in the village relevant as well as in the city, I think that's a big task and you're going to have to do it. One of you, many
But
of you.
also I think, you know, like in this one particular work here, which is untitled, I mean, Puneet has used, and in his contemporary practice, he's used so many crafts or so many techniques to make one, it's right there. I think it's so fabulous. When you were asking is how he's expanding and how the craft
Karigar,
and
yes.
how
He
in
of course,
his contemporary
he,
art practice.
I think for him this is all a learning from a different world, isn't
Totally.
it?
And
Yeah.
it's like I said, learning, imbibing, and embedding, submerging yourself into some
Yes.
space that kind of redefines you. And I think that only happens when you are working with somebody who is far more skilled and far more superior in many ways than you, when you know.
Well, you have to equally respect each other.
Yes.
I mean, you have far more imagination than he's ever been allowed to have or
True.
thought of having. They are stuck in what is known as traditional.
That's what, yeah. And it's beautiful to see the break of mold in some manners and redefining, you know, both of us, as me or as an artisan. And that's why sometimes it's beautiful not to title the work, because I feel, you know, like crochet is such an exercise and it's such a beautiful thing, and I've seen my grandmother do it, I've seen my mother doing tatting all the time, but now I've taken that medium and I've taken steel wire, and it's taken a long process to find a definition with that and the thickness and how much it should be, that it can be molded, turned, and not get spoiled. And last 25 years today we are doing steel, crochet and tatting and everything in that. And
Don't you do it with that same crochet hook?
Yeah, because they are so used to it, they can only use that.
Yeah.
So the challenge is to find the right thickness, the thinness of
And it's
the,
totally malleable, like
all
thread.
of the, all the pieces are like that. It's just, they just know.
So you can change the shape every time you want to display it if
That's
you
what-
feel like.
That's what I do.
What fun.
So,
That's nice.
and so,
Because that's the fun of it. You don't want anything stuck in a mold. If you can remold it according to your mood, that's fun. And
that-
also the crochet artist, karigar, learns that they can try with steel wire.
Yes,
and I
and-
think it would be, what beautiful tableware you could make.
so we did once we did tea light holders and pieces like this for buyer, and it was totally new. And once this was done, one of them came and he said, you know, let's now use copper. We've done enough silver, why don't we do gold wire? And so that is the excitement to see in them, that they are coming up with things and they are talking about it. And I'm like, I can't find the wire. So one of them actually found a wire, brought it. It
Gold
was
wire.
thick. Yeah, and he said, let's use it. I said, "ठीक है."
You find a lot of buyers in the Middle East. I love gold.
So
Nice.
it's been quite a long journey, but a beautiful journey and such a learning journey, that you're so humbled by the experience of finding
Yeah.
these people and the way they commit to doing something. It's amazing.
Well, I have to congratulate you over and over again, because you've really given a new meaning to the craftsperson, and I think to yourself also. So this kind of thing is rare, but you're showing how craft can be art. And if the craftsperson is a part of it, then that's a lovely
Totally.
joint effort. Okay, thank you. It's been great fun talking to you.
Thank you, Jayaji. Thank you, Puneet.
Thank
It
you.
was a very interesting conversation as how craft and contemporary art has got, has how craft has really got its space in Puneet's contemporary work and his
Right.
art practice. Thank you, Puneet.
Thank you.